Hello everyone, let's learn A to Z about arrays in Solidity. So, if you want to store multiple users, transactions, boards or NFTs or any other collection of data, you will have to use arrays. Before we talk more, let's create a new contract. Click on create new file and I will name it arrays.sol. Okay, here I will create a contract. So first we have to add the license identifier spdx license identifier and here MIT. Then what we have to mention? We have to mention the version. So pragma Solidity, the version will be 0.8. I think it's 31 is the latest version. We can check it from Solidity compiler and it is 31. And here let's create the contract and I will name it as arrays. Okay, what are the arrays in Solidity? Arrays are reference type and it will store the collection of element of the same type. So we can get example like list of addresses or list of token IDs or list of numbers or list of string. So let's create an array and let's see what we mean by that. So I will create a string array. So I will say string, and to create array we have to add the bracket, and here I will add the variable name as words or word list, and here actually I have to make this public. Here I will assign data to this array. To do that, here I will create first word. So let's say happy, enjoy, hello, and coding. Let's add another one like Solidity, and here we created our array. Sure, let's decrease its size so we can see the complete array here. Okay, now I told arrays are reference type, which means if we directly call this variable, we can't get the actual element of the array directly. Instead, it stores a reference or a pointer. So if we want to get this value, we have to use pointer. Using that pointer, we can get the actual array data. So let's add the comment here, and here we have element, and those are array elements, and we can't directly get them without pointer. So we call this pointer a index, and index start from 0, and this will be 0, 1. Let's make it clear. 0th index and first index. Here we will have second index, and here third index and fourth index. Here I will add like index 0, first, second, third and fourth. So let's compile this and deploy. Click on deploy, and here here we have the word list array, and here we have to add the index, and think we want to get the hello. So what will be the index for hello? It will be 2 and 2, and if we click on this button, and we will get the hello. And someone think index I start with 1 instead of 0, and he think to get this happy, and here he or she will add 1, but what he get enjoy, not happy. Why is that? Is that because index are start with 0. Then we have two types of array. First, fixed size arrays, and the other one is dynamic arrays. Let's talk about fixed size array. So fixed size array has a size defined at creation and it cannot change. So as an example, I will create a int, and here I will add it count as 3, and here I will say public fixed numbers, and here I will define it like here only we can have a 3 elements for this array, and we cannot grow it or we cannot shrink it. It can hold exactly 3 values. So here I will create a function and I will say set number. This function will be public and will not return anything. So here what I can say, fixed numbers and 0th index. Let's add it like 2001, and then we can add fixed numbers and first index at 2011, and then fixed numbers, and let's make last index as 2021. And if we save it and compile this and go to deploy and remove this, then click on deploy, and here currently we have fixed numbers. So if we check the 0th index we got nothing, and if we check in second one we got nothing. So here if I click on set numbers, we just run this function, and now if we check on the 0th index, here we can see the values and first index, second index. And here if we try to add fixed numbers and third index, here we only can define 3 elements because this is a fixed array, and we try to set value to 4th element or third index, and let's say here we got an error. So this error will be out of bound array access. So this is a index out of bound error. So when we use the fixed arrays, we can use fixed arrays when the size is predictable and the structure is constant, and when you want to save gas because this take less gas than the dynamic arrays. Now let's go to dynamic arrays. Here I will comment this part, and now let's go to dynamic arrays. So here I will create a uint, and this time I am not adding a limit to this array, and let's make it as public and dynamic not array numbers. And then here we don't have a limit and we can add lot of value, and this array will automatically increases the array length. So how we can do it? So I will create a variable, I will create a function. The function name, let's make add dynamic numbers, and here let's make it as public and it will not return anything. And here next question is how we can add the value. To add the value we can use the push method. So let's add our dynamic numbers variable dot push, and here inside here we can add the number. So I will add 100, and let's create another variable and push, let's make it 200, and we can push element dynamically. So I will save this and remove this and click on deploy, and here I will click on add dynamic numbers function, and here if I now check 0th index we got the 100, and if we check the second index we got the 300. If we check the third, we don't have a third index, so it will get an error. So not only this, also we can check the length of the array. To do that we have a keyword called length. So let's do that. Here I will create a function and let's make it public check length, and here we have to add the public keyword here, and this will returns the length. Here we will return a uint, and here what we can say is return dynamic numbers dot length, and here we go. Let's Actually here we have to add the public view return, and on functions video I will explain more. For now let's check the array, and here first I will click on add dynamic. Now before that let's click on check length, and currently our array length is 0 because we only declare it from here. But if we click on add dynamic function, this function it will push the data, and here now if I check the length we can see the length as or element count as 3, and here again we can find the values, and then we have a method to remove the last element of our array. So I will create a function to do that, remove element, and here let's make it as public, and it will not return anything, and here I will say dynamic numbers dot pop, and here if we deploy this and remove this, deploy it again. Okay, now here first I will add dynamic element, and here I will check the length. We have length as 3, and if I click on, actually here let's find out the second element, which should be this one, second index, and now if I click on remove element and check the length become 2, and if I try to check this second element, first element, second element, actually here we have the error. We got the error because of the last element of this array is missing right now. And if I click on remove element again, now we only have one element, and if I click on remove and we have only 0 element, so on the 0th index we will get nothing. Now if I click on add dynamic element and check the length again, we can add the value like this. Okay, now we know about the fixed and dynamic arrays, and for now let's go to the next part. Our next section will be array type. Memory was storage arrays. I will add memory was storage arrays, and here previously I created separate videos about memory, storage and call data, so check those videos and you will have more idea about memory and storage. Okay, first I will create a storage array. Add a comment like create storage array. So the storage array is permanent, so let's create a uint and array public. Let's make this array name as lucky numbers, and here this array is permanent and it will store on the blockchain, which means this will cost gas. And next we will create memory array, and memory array is a temporary. And did you remember that we talked this is work like a RAM? And here let's create a memory array. How we can do that? I will create a function, and function let's say create array, and here let's make it as public, and let's make here returns what we will return the array. Let's create a uint array, and let's make this as memory. Here this should be returns, not return, and then inside here I will create a array. So let's make it array. Let's say uint array, and this array must have fixed size, so I will make it 5, and I have to add the memory keyword to mention this is a memory, and let's say random numbers. Okay, now here I can assign value to this random number array 0th section. I will make 0th index as 103 and random numbers, and let's make as 202 like this. Okay, now here I am going to return this random numbers array, and when I try to do this we got an error because we didn't make this as a fixed array. And here we go. Okay, now this array is a memory array and it will only exist while we create this function, and after this function end, the content of this array will return here and it will no longer available on the blockchain. So we can compile and let's deploy this, and here let's call create array, and here we got the array as the return value. And then let's go to the loop section. Let's loop through a array. We didn't learn about loops, but I will show you how to loop an array. Function, let's say get lucky, and here I will make it public view. Let's return a uint, and here we have the lucky number. Okay, here we have the lucky numbers. Okay, we didn't add any elements to lucky numbers, so I will get our dynamic numbers array for this example. Okay, now here what I can do is I can say I just create a for loop uint I equals 0 and I less than dynamic numbers dot length, and I increment like this. And here we can add the logics. Here I can create a uint sum, and now here I can say sum equals dynamic numbers, the arrays ith index plus sum, like this. Then I will return sum, and let's go to dynamic numbers. Where we have dynamic numbers. Okay, we have those dynamic numbers and we will get the sum of those dynamic numbers, which is 600. So let's see. So here I will compile, remove this, deploy, and here I have to add dynamic numbers, and now here we will have the dynamic number set. We check 0th index, here we got the dynamic numbers, and here if we call this get lucky, we will get the 600, because this for loop go through all of the index and all of element of this dynamic numbers and get it value using this I. So the first time the I is 0, and the for loop will check the 0th index and it will be 100 for the first time, and it will addition to this sum, and currently sum is 0 and first it will be 0, and then this for loop will come here and I will be 1. So that time first index will be check on the dynamic number and then the second index, like this. That's we got this 600, and this is the for loop. So this is bit advanced, and in for loop lesson we will learn more about for loops. And here if we want, we can do this manually, like sum equals 0 plus, and let's copy this 2 more times, like this, 0 1 2, and now if we comment this out and save this, and we will to deploy here this. Okay, here add dynamic numbers and get lucky, and we got the 100. We did it in the manual way, but with for loop we can go through each and every index using the for loop and loop through the array. And I hope you understand the array, and keep practice and keep do different stuff, and you will learn more, and I will see you in the next lesson.